Vicpothesis. So I was thinking again back to the lawlessness in the world, in this country, in whatever state you're in, whatever county, city, district, parish, whatever you want to relocate it. And again, I'm thinking, who imposes the law on the lawmakers or the law guardians that break the law? And apparently it's a misconception that if you pack courts and if you do other things that, you'll so-called get away with it. I think you will for a time. However, I was reading a little bit of Leviticus today, and they go, through all the ways of presenting a proper offering, the tabernacle, and things that should be done, and who should do it. And so, the sons of Aaron, right? So, and then at the end it says for all generations, from the part I'm at up to right now. But then I think when they break the law, or when they broke the law, what happened to them? If you know the story of Aaron's sons. See, they had a price to pay too. Just like we all do and we all will. But I'm talking about immediate now, the law and things. So even those people have to pay. No matter, even if it's at their last breath, if that's what they pay, whatever, but somebody, it always just works out, and if you just go back to those first 5 books, it has all the answers, in my opinion, for me, and I don't know them all, but the ones I know are from there. And then when I read the new, and then I see, you know what, this has the answers, and this is telling you how to do it, and this demonstrates how to do it, and this the New Testament, this is the way, right? If you really, from my perspective, from my understanding, that all the things that are supposed to be done that people don't do, but they say they're this or they're that, you shouldn't have to say that, you should, deeds, not words. As I used to see in that one sign when that building, I wasn't in, but for the infantry people. Anyway, that's my thought for the night, and I really don't. I try to not hold this stuff in. This is why I'm back on here, because it could be detrimental to me holding hate or grudge or unkind things or whatever it is. I have to release it because there's only certain things I can do, as we talked about, and that's all you can do. But there's one thing you can always do, and that is pray or meditate or focus or whatever you call it. You talk to the Creator or whoever, whatever you think it is, and get in that good spot, that good space. You can do that. You can take care of yourself. You can take care of your own temple. You can, keep it clean as possible. I'm not one to judge or say anything about anybody. I'm not a, but I try, and I always try to get back and work my way back to a good place in my head and my heart. And that's all we can do. But just like bad is infectious, so is good. You see, it's the dichotomy of things, or let me see, excuse me, contradiction of things, I guess, could be. And so I've been thinking about that too, as far as the first 5 books of the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Bible. I've been thinking, because I always hear that there's a lot of contradictions, and people can point them out, but maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But it doesn't make a difference to me, because it's not going to change my opinion. I was one of those people. But as I learn more and I see, the coin has 2 sides, but it's still the coin. And if you're flipping it, and if you're calling heads 9 out of 10 times, and it only lands on tail once, that's all good, right? Or even if it's 6 times and 4, So, and that's life. It's be good and bad, right? Ebbs and flows, or bumps, or turns, or road dead ends, whatever. We're gonna run into this stuff, and then we have to just stick with the goodness as much as we can, and just try to stay on that path. It's easy to be drawn off it, as we know. And I see a way forward, and it's coming very soon. I think they figured it out. I think that the people have figured it out. I think the people have figured out a way how to, do things, and to become united, and live a good life. And so there's a path forward. It's after all the sickness comes, it'll be good. And sickness is coming for some, but not to all. And then you'll know, or you won't, or you'll think whatever you think. But the fact is, it'll be a stopgap, and it'll be a change of direction, or at least a slowing down, or even if it's just a stop, a reset, then it's something. But I believe with all my heart and soul that it's going to happen. I'm thinking that I saw the way. All the confusion was there. And that's another thing, as part of staying focused and staying on the good path. The more pebbles we throw in the pond, the more ripples we cross, and we'll never be able to see down to the bottom of the pond until we stop throwing the pebbles. Right? And, oh yeah, I get it. Well, I don't want to see the bottom of the pond. I'm just saying, that's how things get convoluted, and even if you think of it from a science aspect of magnetic interference with electronics, or the vice versa, or heat, or whatever, all these different things, it's still interference. But once it gets calmed down, somebody sees the way forward, and they're like, oh, here it is. And then we have the next invention, right? The next thing, or the next improvement, or whatever it is that we're looking for. So that's what I'm saying when I say about the pebbles. So it's a nice night out. It's cool, and it's been a different day, but I'm feeling revived when I picked up the book again, and I started just dug into Leviticus. And so for me, that's something. There was a time when I was looking at 98 I think, when I in earnest started on a path to discovery of myself, or whatever is out there, whatever. And I've always read books, and but I actually started, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this, and I threw myself all into Buddhism. The Theravada, the Hanaya. Some people call it the lesser vehicle, but that's okay. And I don't think I think that people think it's an insult, but I don't think it is. So, and if it is, oh well. I started down that path for years, and I did my thing there, right? And I had to start. I mean, I had to break myself down to get get into it, because I was trying to feel healthy by mind and body, and deal with things in my life that were trying to infiltrate my thoughts and infect my way of living. And so I did that thing, and I learned a lot, and I think I told you guys the story, but if I didn't, I will tell you now. So, and it's just a story about connection, because I've always believed in the Creator or God or whatever you want to call it, okay? What it is to me is what it is to me. But I do find I am now just strictly sticking to learning the good book, so to speak. So on my path there was this. So we're driving, and I'm driving some monks around, and the guy tells well, it's late at night. We've been driving all day. I think I've told this, but anyway, I'll tell it again. So we're driving, and the guy next to me says, "Hey, I have this riddle for you. You have to get across a river, a family, a wife, a husband, and 2 kids, and the weight limit is 100 pounds. The husband weighs 100, the wife weighs 100, and each kid weighs 50s. And then he tells me this, and I have to figure out how to get across, right? And then I'm thinking, oh man, I'm driving. It's, I don't know, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I think we're going to St. Louis this time, coming up from OK City. And we hit that hypotenuse, so to speak, right? So we're going, and then it's dark and kind of hilly, and and the trees and stuff, on that path. And it hits me finally, and I'm like, okay, I don't know the answer, and I get what he's doing, trying to keep me awake, keep my mind going. So I'm like, hey, I don't, and I'm like, this is what I'm internalizing, and I'm thinking, hey, I don't know the answer. And if it be true that you can speak to each other through thoughts or the brain or whatever you want to call it, then somebody give me the answer. And I let it go. About a minute later, I have the answer. Boom. Tell them, yeah. And then, so anyway, the next day, we drive some more, we get back to the home base, and then I'm like, oh man, I got to drive this other monk to the airport tomorrow. I'm tired. But anyway, so get home, 2 in the morning, I come back 5, 6, whatever, pick them up. We stop, and we had a Cracker Barrel, and breakfast, and I serve them. I do the proper ritual, because you have to do a certain ritual before they can eat, and so I do it. And it has nothing to do with religion or anything. It's more of an etiquette thing. So there was 2 monks. The monk that I normally drove, and this other guy, we were giving him a ride to the airport so he can get back to where he goes, because they get a certain time of the year they can travel. And maybe he was going to another temple somewhere else in the country so he can do his thing. And then, that's there's a certain point that they have to stay wherever they're at and just stay there and do their thing. So the monk I drive goes to the restroom, and the other monk, he orders something, and so I have to do the ritual. And as I'm doing it, he says, "Hey, I heard that riddle last night." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." So that's my thought on that. And it's another tangent. And if you just stick along with me, as we stick along with the Vicpothesis, we go down these tangents, we go down these roads, but at the end of the day, we circle back to the original thought. I hope, and then hopefully you can see what I see, because that's all I can do. And I try to see what other people see. I read books that other people write, and I'm not talking about the good book. I'm talking about maybe commentaries on it, or the Guide to Perplexing about Maimonides, something, something to supplement the other reading and what people were thinking at a certain time in the history of this that they were thinking, and then what they wrote, and then I see how my thoughts can become with theirs or not, or if nothing else, it makes me think about something else, but it doesn't make a difference, because it's making me think about good and kindness and the right things in life, and of course love. That's always so that's the long way back to saying there's the law. It was the law of the jungle one time. And at one time, if you believe the story of Adam and Eve, it was the law, right, of the trees, so to speak, the garden, and that's what it was. And they broke the law, so to speak, and so then there you have it, and there's where So that's what's going on there, in my estimation. I'm not trying to be scholarly or anything. That's why I keep saying that, and I keep reiterating that, because I'm just saying this from my heart. So that's the last time I'll say it, hopefully, as I keep doing, because I'm ready to go again with Vicpothesis. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, and then you can clearly see once you get to that point down the road right where we're at now, you can clearly see the things that are not right. They're just not right, and you know it. And it's like, come on, you had somebody that tried at one time in your life, try to teach you right from wrong, and about everything else in life as they saw it. But there was some goodness they tried to give you in whichever way they could for some people, because some people it's not so good, but in the crude way that the person who was with them did it. But at some point somebody found that person, and they're like, hey, the one person they didn't expect to hear from, and then like, whoa, and then it's like, okay, there is goodness in the world. There is, and that's the side you want to be on anyway. So this is Vicpothesis. I miss talking to you guys, but I'm going to try to keep doing it again. And there was nothing to say. It was, what was happening, and it needed to happen now. So we're at this point. So now at this point, here I am again, because this was just a waste of time. That this, what distractions from what's going on, whatever. But it doesn't make a difference, because they're just falling apart. It's like one of those shows when they're talking and their body just melts away from them, and then they get down to their skeleton, and then you see their skeleton, and then at some point their jaw drops off, or a femur, or a humerus, something, something drops off, and then it just falls apart, and it's like horrifying, but like, yeah, I see that, because you don't bear no ill will, but you can understand it, and you're like, okay, that's, they're getting punished for whatever they did, and it had nothing to do with me, because I didn't do anything to cause that on them. They caused it on themselves. I didn't do anything to push it one way or another, other than try to be a good person. And so that's what I see now, back to the beginning, from where we started at in the lawlessness. So y'all be good, take care of yourselves and your families, and birds of a feather flock together, right? I think statistically that's more the norm than opposites attract, as far as humans. And what does that mean? It's a whole entirely different story, from what I understand. So everybody, whatever you're doing, take a little time for yourself. Breathe in, breathe out, do whatever. And yes, I know you're breathing automatically, but think about it, control it, and think about life, and then take care of those around you. And that's why I say breathe in, because you have to take care of yourself first, right? We know this. So, and then that's it. And I hope and pray and wish and meditate, or whatever it is that everybody out there is well, and be well in your heart. Do not carry around, we do a Sunday brunch, and this Sunday we did it, and I was just thinking how grateful I am to do this. Just, and I'm not a chef or whatever, but I'm just, I cook and I follow the instructions or whatever, but I make it, and it's just the act of me doing it is the point of the Sunday brunch is to have family all get together and talk, right? And be family and love and just, well, here we are. So we have the brunch, and that this day everybody was like, wow, it tasted good today. Everybody's like, oh, it had a good taste and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I love it, because all the time I was cooking that, I was just thinking about, man, I hope they enjoy this. And I just want it to come out right. And I want the food not to be an issue at this table at this time. You see? I want the conversation. I want the interaction. And for some people, they may call it fellowship, but within the family, it's something deeper to me. So whatever it is that you call it, that's what I wanted. I wanted that human time with each other, and we can help each other at this moment in time. So that's the thing about that. And I really was thinking that, but I was like, and I didn't say anything. I was like, man, I just, yes, me too. And it did, but it was like, you see, things are starting to clear up in everybody's mind in this circle I'm in, including my self, because and it probably needs the worst. So as we start quelching that stuff and just little radio silence, little listen to what's out there, and let's not be afraid of it, and let's just talk about what are we feeling, because the external world is coming and creeping too much into our lives. What are we feeling now at this moment in time? What are we grateful for? Even though we're not saying I'm grateful for this or I'm grateful for that, or we ask, what are you grateful for? It's organically, and it works out that way because the food is not an issue. You see, but when people eat it, somebody says salty, too much pepper, or something, and then they may not say it because kindness, people, and respect, not, decorum, whatever. People may not say that, but it does affect their thinking, right? Because they're focused on this. So you want that meal to be, not the center of attention, other than to know you enjoyed it. You had a belly food, and you it just, I don't have to focus on now. Another thing in my life that went wrong, or here we go again. It's like that old shirt they used to have. They have a guy in between these two presses, and he says, "Go ahead, give a turn." Everybody else does, and he's all compressed already. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Vicpothesis, the rest of the story, and man, I missed you guys. I'm going to try to do more. Vicpothesis out.